Hello and welcome to the Midday Brief. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano. Coming aboard, the team of Premix Committee finds some persons at Yeji selling the commodity at 7 cedis instead of 5 cedis. We'll speak to the leader of the audit committee. In foreign news, at least 87 people killed in an attack by Boko Haram militants in Nigeria's northeastern Borno state. Details of these stories and many more coming up in a bit. Now, artisans operating at Zone 19 portion of Swami Magazine have been ejected following a court order. Now, the over 2,000 artisans, including electricians, blacksmiths and auto mechanics, their structures were demolished due to their refusal to relocate. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin brings us a report from Kumasi.
It was a sad moment for the artisans at Zone 19 portion of the Kumasi Magazine. Their structures were demolished by a bulldozer following the court order. Some of the artisans who operated for over 20 years told Joy News the portion of the land was offered to them by the family head of the Tafos 2 land. According to them, they were informed by the chief executive officer of Kwesi Opon Company that the land belongs to him and that they should relocate for the company's expansion program. After several attempts to get the artisans out of the land failed, Kwesi Opon proceeded to court to seek redress. 8 months ago, the court ruled in his favor, ordering the artisans to relocate. Chief Executive Officer of the company explained to the press that he acquired the land from the Land Commission in 1993 and subsequently secured lease and building permits. He explained the instances that have led to the ejection.
This was given to me. I made up my mind to fence the plot. So I started the fencing in 1993. When the fence wall was being constructed, Tafo Hene, that time it was Nana Ponko Bafo, he called me and then said I should put a stop to the project that I'm doing. And I asked why. He said that the land belongs to Tafos 2. I told him that I have documents to prove that the land is for the government and the government has leased it to me since 1993, as I said. I sent all my documents, my lease, my building permit, everything on the land to Nana Ponko Bafo, but he still insisted that I should stop work.
He stated further that after showing all documents covering the land, Tafohini continued to allow the artisans to operate. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
Now, reports reaching as indicate some persons have been selling premix fuel to fishermen in Yeji 7 cedis instead of the stipulated 4 cedis. And to shed more light on this is Alhaji Emmanuel M. Benson, his team leader of the auditing London Beach Committee. Hello, Alhaji.
Yes.
So you were with the auditing team. Tell us exactly your findings.
We were sent by the Minister of Fisheries to audit all landing beaches along the Water Lake. On reaching, we've gotten reports of where the premises are being sold at different prices. We were at Yeji when a young man came in to buy premise, 5 gallons. So when he was leaving, we called him, examined the premise, we examined the product, it was premise. We asked him how much did he pay for it. He said 7 cedis per gallon. And premise is supposed to be sold 4 cedis per gallon. And this was from a Gao area. The same place where Premier is discharged for London Beach committees. And they do not have premix in their tanks, but the Gao has premix and selling at a different price. And this is bringing the problem of premix shortages all around. And people are blaming government that...
I see, Alhaji. From your submission, you just got this information from one person, and then we can conclude that in Yeji, premix is sold at 7 cedis. Is that it?
Yes, 7 cedis per gallon instead of 4 cedis.
Because one person told you about it?
No, not at all. I witnessed him buying it.
I see. And so what has the committee done about this?
Who has done about it? Who? The committee?
I'm asking, yes.
The committee are the one who sells to the Gal, and Gal sell at a different price. So what would they say? I got the police involved. I called the police district commander. He was there. He was there to see it. There were 17 drums of premix with a Gal guy. And yet the LBC, who are supposed to sell the premix, don't have it.
Right. Let me just be specific with my question. This is what the audit team found out in Yeji. Has any arrest been made?
How many of what?
Has any arrest been made?
We handed over the situation to the police at Yeji. Yes.
And then?
So it's left with the police. So we cannot arrest them. So we called the police, and the police took over. So you can call the police there to find out whether they let them go, they arrest them. We have reported to them.
We know we can do that, but you made a report to the police. What you're saying is suggestive of the fact that after you made the report, then you decided to, relax.
Yes, we have to leave to go to another location.
And so where are you now?
We just passed. We have Sini district, going to Sini East to inspect on the launching beaches around there.
Right. Many thanks, Alhaji. We would get back to you for some more updates on your audit, on your auditing. Now let's move on to some other stories. And former rector of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, Professor Stephen Adai, has voiced support for some recommendations made by the Constitution Review Commission on the structure of the National Development Planning Commission. Now, according to Professor Adai, entrenching the National Development Plan as advocated by the CRC will ensure accountability from people who seek to hold public offices. He was addressing an Institute of Economic Affairs lecture on the role of the NDPC in national development. Let's take a look.
The Constitution Review Committee, in Chapter 3 of their recommendations, suggested to government that it should make provisions for the development of the National Development Plan, ensuring that it is entrenched and binding on all successive governments and enforceable at all levels. It is also recommending the Constitution to prescribe grassroots participation and wide-range stakeholder consultation in the national development planning process. But government disagreed with both recommendations, explaining that the scope of the plan should be a matter of legislation and circumstances prevailing and not a function of constitutional prescription. Professor Stephen Adai, who is now rector at the Pentecost University College, however, says government should have adopted the CRC's recommendations.
If I put all of them in this room to really tell us the vision, to describe the Ghana they want to see 20 years from now, it will be the same. Because national long-term perspective embody the vision of a country where they want to go. It captures the aspiration of the people. And that I thought that was not highlighted, because that can be entrenched when I come to that. Whilst the short-term, medium-term means of achieving it, there can be, if you put 3 economists in a room, you have 3 answers, because there are other paths to arrive at that. However, if you have a long-term strategic vision and where you are going, everybody else can then see whether what you are proposing in your medium-term and short-term actually will allow us to get where we are.
He adds the country is stagnant in growth and will need to adopt a workable plan and strategy to make it productive.
Ghana's experience, Ghana's own experience, because it's always easy to say, Malaysia and everything else. But people don't know that Ghana's own experience, development experience, if you look at it, it is clear that where there have been consistency in policy, even when it is foreign imposed for 10 years, we see gargantuan changes. A friend of mine always quarrels with me because there are 2 Nkrumahs. Nkrumah from 1951 to 1961 and 61 to 66 were almost like Mugabe in his first 10 years and Mugabe thereafter. 2 different Nkrumahs. But in his first 10 years, there was consistent economic policies only. There were consistent liberal economic policies, of course, based upon the orthodoxy of that time of import substitution, guided by brains like, say, Atta Lewis and the rest. And that is called the golden age of Ghana. What I'm saying is that when you have a long-term perspective and a developmental visionary leader, we see tremendous changes.
Others who were present at the lecture shared their opinions.
Why don't you complete one project and then the following year you produce another one? Just promise the people that next year is your turn, and then next year is your turn. But at least we would have had what? Completed projects, schools which children can go to school. Not have buildings which are never completed and therefore never occupied. So I believe that, Steve, you are on the right track. It would be good for all of us to pass a resolution right here to say that we would need to have entrenched program and projects so that we can follow.
I'm wondering, Professor, whether this issue about entrenchment is really necessary. I believe that we talk about long-term planning, all of us agree on it, but the issue is the leadership that we get in this country. Whether you entrench it or you don't entrench it, if you are not going to move, you are not going to move.
The lecture was themed A Long-Term Development Agenda for Ghana, the Role of the NDPC.
Now, the 2012 vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, has called on the rank and file of the party to stay away from talks that will bring disunity. He said unity in the rank and file of the party would aid in wresting power from the ruling National Democratic Congress in the 2016 elections. He was speaking in Kumasi as part of the party's thank you tour in the region. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin brings us another report.
The 2012 vice presidential candidate, the chairman and the general secretary of the New Patriotic Party thanked the various executives and supporters in the region for their unflinching support for the party. The general secretary, Kojo Uswefrie, spoke about reforms in the party and advised party executives at the constituency and regional levels to put good structures together.
I'll tell you why. I did not insult the party. And what I said then have come to pass. Is that not so? Yes. But this is you here, MPP. You do better by fighting yourselves. Even this thank you tour that Jake and Dr. Bawumia.
You're watching the Midday Brief. Don't forget that you can send us your comments, your thoughts on this broadcast or any of the stories we are handling on our social media platform at Joy News on TV on Twitter, Joy News on TV as well on Facebook. When we return, we'll do some more stories. You're watching the Midday Brief, and I appreciate your company. Moving right on, government will scrap subsidies currently on fertilizer for food crops by 2016. It was disclosed by Food and Agriculture Minister Clement Kofi Humado at the first annual West Africa Fertilizer Stakeholders Forum here in Accra. He noted the removal of the subsidy will open up the market for importers to compete with each other to drive down costs and improve on the quality of their service.
Ghana is the only country implementing subsidies on fertilizers for food crops. Nowhere do you find any country doing that. I know there's a little bit of subsidy on fertilizer for cocoa in Ivory Coast, but not on food crops. And if we call ourselves a middle income country, when others around us are least developed countries, then we need to face the competition. So far the fertilizer subsidy program was only a stopgap program because in 2007 there was some inadequate rainfall and we needed farmers to bounce back into production. Now that production is stabilizing, especially for grains, we have enough in the system. Even marketing is a problem. We think that we can phase out the subsidy and open up the system for importers to compete with each other so that farmers can have value for money. Because if you open up the system, the importers will have to improve on their quality, the quality of their services and outreach. They might even add other services like extension to the farmer. That way we will have value for money. So by 2016, and in consultation with the president, we are likely to phase out the subsidies of fertilizer. Secondly, it's costing government a lot of money. This year, it's costing it not less than 60 million to subsidize fertilizer. That money could have been used for other things in the ministry. So for those reasons, we are phasing out.
Yes.
Right, and with me in the studio is Philip Abayori. He's president of the Farmers and Fishermen Award Winners Association. He's been giving me some really interesting insights into why it may be important, or is such a laudable idea that we are scrapping subsidies. You and I, for a minute, thought that it was important we had subsidies on fertilizers. But let's talk to Philip himself. Thank you very much for your time. You were telling me about the fact that this may be a very good move when it comes to fertilizers. Tell me about it.
You see, we are not, the total fertilizer that comes to Ghana doesn't meet the total demand needs of the fertilizer that we want in the country. So if we are bringing in less fertilizer into the country and subsidizing it, the sense of it is that the few companies that are into this business continue to increase the price because they'll bring less fertilizer in the country. So until such a time that we are bringing the total requirement of the country, giving opportunity for competition to take place, and then there is price frustrations, and we believe that yes, the cost is becoming higher, then you can do what we call a genuine intervention. But if you allow them currently to bring less fertilizer and you subsidize it, what are you doing? Actually, what they are even bringing in is not enough for the sector, and the prices that they are quoting are high, and you are supporting them year by year to continue to increase the cost. So what we would want to see is that liberalize the fertilizer market.
We'll come to what you would want to see done, but one would think that really, if we are subsidizing, you should be able to bring in more. But we've spoken about the challenges that we face because we are subsidizing. A lot of the goods do not get into the right hands in the first place. So where do we reconcile the two? The fact that the goods are not getting into the right hands.
You see, if the subsidy currently that we are getting is only 30% of it that gets to the farmers, that means 70% of the subsidy is getting somewhere, which we don't know. So what it is that we need to take stock. And taking stock is to open up the fertilizer market and allow more companies to be involved in bringing fertilizer to meet the demands of Ghana. Then you can now do what we call a selected subsidy. Because let me tell you, sir, there are farmers that cannot afford to even buy one bag of fertilizer. Majority, 25% of them in the population of Ghana. They are not commercially inclined. So for that nature, we can be targeting those farmers in one way or the other to make sure that they use fertilizer. Now, government could also change its policy of subsidy and rather say, look, I will subsidize my farmers by ensuring that they have affordable credit. So you can put your fertilizer at any price, we'll buy it, but still food prices will be cheap. But then directly the farmers could get, an incentive to be able to produce at a cheaper cost. There are two ways of doing it. So we need to think through it, whether we need to continue as it is, bringing less fertilizer, increasing the price, and government is putting in money, or allowing more fertilizer to come to Ghana, okay? And then now watching the prices to see whether if they are high, then government can intervene in a particular manner that will also benefit the country.
Right.
Yeah.
But this decision taken, was it in consultation with, key stakeholders like yourself? It
is not a decision. It's like generally subsidies are targeted for a reason, and at a particular time we have a phase-out period. And sometimes we say that subsidies are not sustainable because you must have the money available to subsidize. Currently, this fertilizer subsidy is being paid by the World Bank. It is not Ghana government. And if we do not have the continual resources to subsidize the fertilizer, or else the fertilizer subsidy is not being managed to meet its particular objective, then you realize where the issue is. So government need to find money
Are we not giving up a little too early? Because, okay, we face challenges. 70% of the subsidized fertilizers are not accounted for. Until we decide that, okay, we're giving up, let's just remove all the subsidies.
Fertilizer is not the only thing that the farmers need. The farmers need equipment, the farmers need technology, the farmers need affordable credit. So if we get affordable credit, we can buy any input at any cost, which will be the direct subsidy to the sector. But government is also watching, stakeholders are watching, everybody is watching what the subsidy is doing. So we are looking at it that will there be an alternative? Should we continue to only subsidize fertilizer, or we should ensure that credit is available and affordable, so that at the same time government is subsidizing indirectly. Subsidies must be targeted, they must be, directly achieving something. And they must also be monitored in a way that they really get to the needed group.
In the condition we have now, the fact that the credit facilities are not there, and we are removing the subsidies, making the market liberal so that everybody at all could bring in fertilizers. Your members, from the picture drawn, your members could suffer in the end. Already you tell us that some cannot even afford a bag.
We don't need to pretend. Here's the case, we are not getting the fertilizer and government is subsidizing. So we need to choose. We are saying that subsidies are very necessary for the kind of economies that we have, because the Europeans and other countries across the world are subsidizing. But how are they subsidizing? They are targeting crops and subsidizing them and ensuring that productivity is increasing and ensuring that the beneficiaries are getting the fertilizer. So in our case, if that is not happening, you get the point, there is an issue. So what it is that we need to now look at other areas to subsidize. We are not saying subsidies are not good.
Right.
But if we are subsidizing fertilizer and it's not making an impact, we can turn subsidy to credit. We can also send subsidy to land preparation. We can send subsidies to other issues of even saying that, look, we will buy your maize at a particular premium price. If you bring 1 bag of maize, no matter how much it costs you to grow, we'll give you a premium price, so your cost will be subsidized. So there are two ways to ensure that that subsidy really is benefiting Ghana.
I see. I still have a lot of, doubts if this could be the way forward. And that's why I asked you earlier, really, this decision taken, or this decision to be taken, was it in consultation with key stakeholders like yourself? Because in the end, we could have the subsidies removed, and then the subsidies on the fertilizer removed, yet we wouldn't have it given to other aspects of the sector.
Let me also tell you, this is one part of it. We want subsidies to continue to remain, but we want subsidies to be able to reach the targeted group, and that is an issue. Another alternative, whilst we are discussing, is that we are thinking that the government should back the farmers themselves, the farmer-based organizations, for us to buy our own fertilizers. Because when you are buying fertilizer in bulk, you get it at a cheaper cost. So either government will put that money, that the $180 million to us to bring, to bid and get fertilizer on international competitive bidding, so that we can get good prices and bring the fertilizer. Then the people who are into fertilizer business will know that, look, you must quote good prices to be able to win the tender. You get the point. We don't allow people to bring in their fertilizer, quote their prices, tell us this how much it is, then we are subsidizing. So there is a need for a review. Whether we as farmers organizations cannot be supported, you give us the money and say, look, we are giving you this. We also talk to private sector banks, then we bring in the fertilizer, ensure that our members will get the fertilizer. You get the point. And that money can be revolved, indicating that when we bring that particular quantity of fertilizer, we ensure that the farmers are getting the fertilizer. We also ensure that the prices, we are not doing it for commercial value, but we are doing it to ensure that our farmers get the fertilizer. So in other case, there's so many school of thought that may be put in before 2016, this is gone up. We're not saying that the subsidies should be removed completely in the agricultural sector, but we need to ensure that all the subsidies are planned in a way that the farmers are getting them.
Right. Thank you very much, Philip. I'm totally grateful for your time.
Thank you.
Philip Abayori is president of the Farmers and Fishermen Award Winners Association. Let's move on to some other stories. And the 2012 vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, has called on the rank and file of the party to stay away from talks that will bring disunity. He said unity within the party would aid in wresting power from the National Democratic Congress in the 2016 elections. He was speaking in Kumasi as part of the party's thank you tour in the region. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin brings us a report.
The 2012 vice presidential candidate, the chairman and the general secretary of the New Patriotic Party thanked the various executives and supporters in the region for their unflinching support for the party. The general secretary, Kojo Uswefrie, spoke about reforms in the party and advised party executives at the constituency and regional levels to put good structures together.
Dr. President cannot escape blame. My observation is that Dr. President appeared to have concentrated his oversight responsibility at the top notch of the election administration, thereby abdicating his supervisory role at the grassroots or bottom, where most of the activities critical to the conduct of the elections are performed. But was it in this instance, President appeared not to be conversant, but some of the basic procedural steps and rules that are performed by his so-called temporary staff. So far as I'm concerned, Dr. President has cut a very poor figure of himself, and the much acclaimed competent election administrator, both nationally and internationally, has evaporated into thin air once his portfolio has come under the close scrutiny of the courts. And Crawford say, yenye reforms, na party no, yenye ye, na NCSA hunsie, na entwin 2016, said the betimi awini abano. Na Gaso one nanti na so suntia, obakose no nanti na sabi usuntia 190.
Chairman of the party, Jacob Echebilamte, said the acceptance speech by the party's presidential candidate showed the NPP wants peace in Ghana. He claimed Ghanaians are unhappy about the outcome of the Supreme Court verdict and reminded Ghanaians to keep the government on its toes. Jay criticized the NDC of corruption, urging party supporters to speak on the issue.
If you're given that money to reputable companies and said expand your business, employ young people, thousands of young people will be in jobs today. If you're given that money to reputable companies and said train young people to have skills that are marketable, thousands of young people would have marketable skills today. Instead, what did they do? They stole the money. By their own admission, from their own little inquiry that they did, they stole the money. They did all sorts of mirrors and illusions and things, took the money in here, and then chopped the money themselves out of the other gate.
He credited the National Democratic Congress for being able to generate millions of Ghana cedis under JADA, but failing to invest it into productive ventures to help create more jobs in the country. Jacob Echebilamte also appealed to party sympathizers to allow competition in the party and not be carried away by negative ideas. Dr. Baumia added the party would double its efforts and be more vigilant at the polling stations in the 2016 general elections to avoid another defeat.
Because you have to remember, say, thou shalt not speak ill about another NPP member. Once you remember the 11th commandment, then we are going to be fine. We will be united.
Now, market capitalization of the Ghana Stock Exchange on Monday, September 16, was 55,393.74 million Ghana cedis, and as of Thursday, the market capitalization stood at 55,247.93 million Ghana cedis, and these are a lot of figures. So with me is David Odoi Dankwa of Gold Coast Securities. He's going to help us digest some of these figures that I have just mentioned. What do these mean? First of all, thank you very much. But the figures, capitalization, and
when we talk about market capitalization, as you said, that is the market worth. That's when we put all the shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange together. It's worth. As a Thursday close of trading, is worth 55,247.93 million Ghana cedis. That is the worth of the Ghana Stock Exchange as at the close of trading yesterday. And this comes about as changes in prices on the stock market.
But on Monday, we were 55,393.74. And as a Thursday, it means that the worth of the stock had come down.
Yes.
How does this happen?
Because as I said earlier on, the market capitalization is as a result of the changes in the prices of the stock.
Stocks are not performing?
Not that the stocks are not performing. Some of the stocks are doing well and others too are not. So when we go into the market performance, then we will see the stocks that are doing well and those that are not doing well. But some of the stocks also have so much weight, and some too can lose so much. And as they lose, it affects, because as they lose, then it means their market capitalization reduces. And as their market capitalization reduces, then it affects the general market capitalization or the market worth of the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Okay, so give us a review of activities Monday to, today. Okay. It closes by close of day?
Yeah, it will close by 3 o'clock. So we don't have that updates now. So we can talk from Monday up to Thursday.
Right. Give us a quick review.
Okay. The general performance of the Ghana stock market. Monday, the market was down. It means it decreased. The performance on the average decreased from Friday's performance. And Tuesday, it experienced another dip. But when we went on the Wednesday, the market picked up. And yesterday, the market also picked up again. That is the performance as measured by the composite index. And when we talk about the composite index, is the index that measures the average performance of all stocks on the market. But because we have a lot of financial stocks, that is stocks that are related to financial issues, then we also have an index on the Ghana Stock Exchange that measures the performance of financial stocks on the market. But with the financial stocks, they've been doing pretty well this week. Monday, they picked up some points. Tuesday, they picked up points. And Wednesday, they picked. Thursday, too, they picked. Meaning that the financial stocks on the market are really doing well as compared to all the stocks on the market. And as we said, the market capitalization also keeps swinging, going up and down. Meaning some stocks are gaining and others are also losing some pesos on their prices. But this is normal on the stock exchange. Every stock exchange you experience this. But the Ghana Stock Exchange is really doing well, especially this year. Looking at the composite index, where it is up around 67 and the financial index 63. Meaning on the average, somebody that put money into the Ghana Stock Exchange is earning around 67%. So you can see people are really making money as compared to the money market that we are having an average of about 23, and the government says it's going to dip further. So the market, though it's not stable, is really doing well, and investors on the Ghana Stock Exchange are really getting a lot of money.
Then you could say that the stocks are all performing, but some are performing at a higher rate and others perhaps at a slower rate.
I wouldn't say all the stocks are performing, because there are some stocks that are really dropped. When you pick a stock like CPC, that stock has not really seen the best of this year. That stock keeps on dropping.
On that note, quickly, tell us which stocks have been movers of the week, Monday to Thursday.
Okay, Monday to Thursday, we've had EGL moving, we had Carl also moving, Yes, Car has been moving. These are the stocks I can talk about. Mechanical Alloy too is really moving, and others too are dropping on their value. But that, as I said, that is how the stock market is. Yeah, they keep on going, because I was talking about Carl started dropping, and it got to a point and it has started increasing again. The same thing was with EGL. EGL dropped to some point and everybody was, wow, what is happening to EGL? And EGL started picking up, and that is how the stock market is. It goes down, comes up, goes down, comes up. So then that's why we say it's a long-term investment scheme.
Absolutely.
Your money has to be for a long-term purpose investment before you go into the stock market.
Let's wrap up with this one. The market closes by 3 p.m.
Yeah.
There's this project as to, you remember that we said by Thursday was 55,247, which was down by what September 16 had recorded, which was 55,393.74. Closing the week, are we likely to see an increase in the worth of the GSE?
Closing the week, I can't really tell because I wouldn't want to predict because it depends on how investors are going to place value or take value on the stocks listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. So I wouldn't just predict, but I think the stock market is doing well. So even when it closes by dipping a little bit further, we know the stock exchange will pick up very soon and start returning, and the market worth will start booming again.
I think you had some indices you wanted to share with us. Just quickly, let's do some of the major ones you want to share with us.
Okay, then let me just talk about the composite index. It started Monday recording 67.67. Tuesday it went to 67.10. That was a dip. Then on Wednesday it picked up again 67.21, and on Thursday it closed 67.30. So we are looking for that maybe today the market will close with an increase again. The financial index that I said also measures the performance of the financial stocks. That is only financial stocks. Also Monday saw an increase to 63.80. Tuesday it went to 62. Okay, it dropped on Tuesday 62.88. Then Wednesday it increased again to 63.07, and Thursday it went to 63.14. So then it means that it dropped on Tuesday, then it picked up again on Wednesday and Thursday.
The unpredictability of the stock market.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, David. It's been totally enlightening talking to you, because the stock will get confusing sometimes.
Don't get please.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
David Odoi Dankwa is with GoCo Securities Limited. So if you want some more insight, you know where to go to. You're watching the Midday Brief. I've been receiving your comments. I'll read them, some of them, when we come back. You're welcome back, and away from the stocks, let's do some international news now. And at least 87 people have been killed in an attack by Boko Haram militants in Nigeria's northeastern Borno state. Witnesses say disguised in military uniforms, the militants set up checkpoints outside the town of Beni Sheikh and shot dead those trying to flee. They also razed dozens of buildings in Tuesday's attack. Boko Haram, which wants to create an Islamic state across Nigeria, has waged a deadly insurgency since 2009. The group launched military operations in 2009 to create an Islamic state across Nigeria. Its founding leader, Muhammad Yusuf, killed in same year in police custody. Well, in Syria, the Deputy Prime Minister says the civil war has reached stalemate with neither side strong enough to win. Quadri Jamil told the UK's Guardian newspaper that at proposed peace talks in Geneva, Damascus would call for a ceasefire with the armed opposition. According to the United Nations, more than 100,000 people have died in the conflict and millions have left the country or been made homeless. The U.S. has called on the United Nations Security Council to act over Syria's chemical weapons. Meanwhile, two Syrian rebel groups in the town of Azaz have agreed to a ceasefire. The Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, linked to Al-Qaeda, seized the northern town on Wednesday from the larger Western-backed Free Syrian Army. That's it for the segment, but up next is sports with Rashida Baba Kadiri.
My name is Rashida Baba Kadri. Thanks for staying tuned to the sports segment on Midday Brief. Now, this weekend is a heavy one because we're starting tomorrow and then we'll end on Sunday. Sunday is that day when the big match, that's the Super Clash Part 1 of the 2013-2014 local Premier League season, will kick off at the Accra Sports Stadium. It's that game between Accra Hearts-of-Oak and their arch rivals, Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Now, this fixture happens to be in week 2 of the local Premier League's calendar. Now, we've been hitting the streets, or we've hit the streets of Accra actually, speaking to a few fans, finding out from them what they think the outcome of that match between Hearts-of-Oak and Kotoko will be. Let's take a listen.
Hearts-of-Oak have carried brilliant form into this season. I mean, they've been excellent in the second round. They were by far the best team. And the 2-0 win over New Adubiase proved brilliant. Kumasi Asante Kotoko have also started quite well, winning a difficult match at home to Aduana Stars, a match they drew last season at home. It's going to be difficult to determine who will win this particular match because both teams, in my opinion, look evenly matched. There doesn't seem to be any discernible weaknesses in any part of each team. I mean, let's take Hearts of Oak, for example. They bought very, very well in the close season. I mean, you look at Kwekuando, excellent right back, who is helping the back four. The partnership of Nuru Sule and Rob Benyani has been brilliant, and Osu Bempa has impressed at left back. You look at their midfield, Emmanuel Hayford is battling to be fit. If he is fit, you might see him and Obedansa in the center of midfield playing for Hearts of Oak. You've got Eric Kumi, who is coming and playing down the right. You've got Thomas Abe down the left. Then you've got Winful Kobina supporting Selassie Ajay. They've got options on the bench. You've got the likes of Gilbert Fiamenyo and all that. Come to Kotoko, for example, Christopher Bonney, Eric Donko, Abeku Enison, and Kwabena Dusay forming the back line. Now, it's going to be a backlash to who will keep goal because Isaac Amahu did very well against Aduana Stars. Now that Sulaiman Abdullahi has gotten a renewal of his work permit, the question is whether Kotoko will still stick with Isaac Amahu or Sulaiman will come in. Same applies to Joseph Ochaya. Are they going to bring him in and leave Eric Donko out?
I think the better side is going to win on Sunday. But for me, what I'm expecting is quality football from the two teams. You know, when you talk about El Clasico, when you go to Europe, Manchester United playing against Liverpool, you look at the quality of football that they exhibit. That is what I'm expecting them to do on Sunday.
I think that the Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Santi Kotoko El Clasico matches do not follow from guard, taking into consideration some of the past results, technical issues, support base, their form in terms of the field of play doesn't all work. Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Santi Kotoko have always been who has the character to win the match, and that is exactly what I'm going to expect on Sunday.
Right, so that's what's been going on. That's what the pundits think about Sunday's game. But I have with me one very staunch supporter of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Ideally, I was supposed to have both sides, Hearts of Oak and Kotoko, but invitations were extended, and it's the Kotoko man who honored his invitation. Does this mean anything, Ali Maradona?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think they are afraid of Kotoko, that is why.
They are afraid?
Yeah, definitely. You know them, when they hear the first batch is in town, definitely, that is...
You put some fear in them.
Yeah.
I see.
As for them, we know them already.
Ali, I mean, of course, Kotoko will say they want to win. Hearts of Oak will say they want to win. But let me ask you from the Kotoko side, what is it that you have done? Technically, physically, spiritually, psychologically, financially? What have you done to ensure that this Sunday victory is coming to the Porcupine Warriors?
Well, when you look at our team, current squad right now, we have 2 or 3 players who are added to the last season team.
Jordan Opoku.
Yeah, Jordan and Yaya Mohammed. These 2 players are getting the problem with the past management of the team. Then when we get them back to the team, definitely they can show something that they are very good players, they can play more better. So that is the only changes we have in the team. And then the change of administration too, and the new board of directors. So in terms of these 3 or 2 things, you can see clearly that Asante Kotoko are prepared for Sunday match. And then our first match against Aduana, we're down by 1-0 in 2-3 minutes time. When these 2 key players organize themselves, everybody know, everybody see on that day Kotoko are prepared for the season. So that is why we have a fully confidence that this team can go far. And then 2013, 2014 is the year of Asante Kotoko again.
I see, which means that you're winning the league once more. But referee Samuel Suka is the one who is going to be at the center of affairs. Are you comfortable with him? As in, are you Kotoko people comfortable with him?
Yeah, we don't have to start him complete. I think it's too early. In terms of you play 30 matches. This is the second match.
But do you know Samuel Suka very well?
Yeah, we know him. We met with him.
What is his past record with Kotoko?
We don't want to go there, this current administration. We don't want to go there. For only thing we know, if we complain, maybe we start to complain about the referees appointment committee.
But from what you're saying, I'm gathering that I'm sure you had problems with Samuel Suka in the past.
Sometime maybe you can get it fully, or sometime badly.
He's been biased against Kotoko.
For now, for the last 2-3 years, we didn't see that. He's the man who holding the match against Arsenal last season. We beat Arsenal. So we can complain. Maybe if you score, if your players is very good, you score 10 goals. If the referee didn't allow 2 or 3, definitely you go forward. So as for Hearts of Oak, maybe they can talk a lot about him, but for Kotoko, we just pray for him. It's a very big match. Even if any referee hosting Kotoko Hearts of Oak, he's supposed to pray hard because we do so many things against
But
you.
Hearts Kotoko is a normal everyday game.
Rashida, it's not normal. It's not normal.
It is the same 11 players against 11 players.
That is
with
what
the
you,
referee
that
in
is
the
what
middle.
you see. But in spiritual, you see the difference.
Tell me what you see, how you see it spiritually.
Yeah, sometimes you take, you know, when you play against House of Folk, I myself, all eyes on me, especially House of Folk people. The same thing they will do for the referee. I know them. We know each other. We know where we can pass. We go to cemetery, pass here, pass here. So many
what?
things. Cemetery,
to do what?
And you know, it's normal in football in Ghana here.
What do you go to do in the cemetery?
After the match, maybe I'll tell you a lot about it, but not now.
Okay, so that'll bring me to my next question. Is there superstition in Hearts Kotoko games?
Yeah.
A lot of superstition?
Yeah.
You do it?
Yeah, you know, sometimes you're supposed to do something. You know, when I'm in Kumasi, before the first batch we came to Accra yesterday, House of Folk starting telling about one of their strikers is not feeling well, he's in hospital, they are waiting for this. Yesterday we are in the training ground with House of Folk. The guy is full fit. Hayford, he's full fit, he can play. Then I send a message to our team. Everybody is fit. Coach Duncan, everybody is fit. Nobody can do that spiritual issue to tell you this player is not feeling well. When the player came to the stadium, supporters were starting shouting, yay.
Ali, you're not superstition. Juju in Hearts Kotoko games.
He play almost about 40% in Kotoko.
Juju plays 40% of them.
Yes.
And then the 60% is what?
It's your performance.
So there's Juju. Can you tell me some of the things you guys do?
So many things, you know.
Like?
So many things. Sometimes I don't want to remember for past of 6 or 5 years ago what happened to me with Juju in Kotoko House of Folk. Do you know in Kumasi? Yeah, Kotoko and House of Folk in Kumasi. And then we see one of the guys, very close to House of Folk, and he told me straight ahead, can you bring milk in the stadium? I said, milk? If you want cow, I'll bring cow in the stadium. Not even milk. He said, when House of Folk finish everything, go and put the milk on the pack. So at the end, we beat House of Folk 3-1.
Just the milk?
Yeah. How do you expect I'll bring milk in the stadium? It won't be happy. It won't be possible. So many things. You can do 1 or 2 things.
So this Sunday, what are you doing? Are you taking milk or you're taking something else?
No, I'll take different things, but I think not today to tell you what I'm taking to the stadium or something. Maybe I'll get a problem in the gate. I know them last year when House of Folk played Kotoko in Accra here, there's a boxing there. I tried to go there, then they hugged me, put me in one of the room. I didn't watch the boxing. So wow. I know them, they can do more than that, but as for now, Kotoko is in Ghana.
Ali Maradona, thank you very much. And you heard it from him. He said Juju or superstition plays 40% and then the game on the pitch is 60%. So let's see how it goes. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I'll be there to support.
Yeah, you'll be there to see how the Kotoko goals will be started coming on.
I see. But you know, the Hearts Kotoko game is not the only match for this Sunday. There will be 7 other fixtures. So let's see the fixtures coming up on our screens. On Saturday, Amidas Professionals will take on Brekum Chelsea. Hearts of Folk will take on Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium. There's Ash Gold versus Liberty Professionals. King Faisal, they will host Hearts of Lions. And then there's Mediama SC up against Bichim United. And then Dwarfs, Buswan Dwarfs, they will take on Hazakis. Ediana Stars up against Inter Allies. And then Wa All Stars up against New Edibiase. That's what's happening. Now, we're going to be going over to the Black Stars game. But remember, there will be live commentary of that big game, Hearts Kotoko, on Joy 99.7 FM. There will be live commentary from the Accra Sports Stadium. We begin the show at 2:30 p.m. on Sunday. 2:30 p.m. on Sunday is when we are beginning commentary for the Hearts Kotoko game. And so you have to make a date with us on the Joy Sports Arena on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Away from club issues, let's deal with national issues. And Ghana will now play Egypt in the first leg of the final qualifying round to the Brazil 2014 World Cup on Tuesday, October 15 at the Baba Yara Stadium. You know, initially it was supposed to be the 13th of October, but it has been changed to the 15th of October for that game. The Ghana Football Association had initially fixed Sunday, October 15 for the game, but an official statement from the Ghana Football Association says the decision to change the date is meant to give Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah more training time with the team before the match in Kumasi. It also falls in line with FIFA's decision of playing the first leg of the playoffs between 11th and 15th of October. A statement said the Baba Stadium in Kumasi remains the venue for the match. Kickoff will be at 16 hours GMT. So that is news coming in from the Ghana Football Association stables. We will play that game between Egypt with Egypt on Tuesday, October 15 at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Every other thing is intact. Kickoff time is 16 hours GMT. That's 4 p.m. local time. So that will do it for sports on the midday brief. It's proudly sponsored by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo.
Let's wrap up with some showbiz. And a quick question. Why would anybody want to charge an entry fee for his or her birthday celebration? Well, a post has emerged on the internet that shows Ghanaian female representative of the just ended Big Brother Africa reality show, The Chase. I'm sure you remember her. Sally is planning her birthday bash. And the fee for entry is 50 cedis for regular and 100 cedis for VIP. And we're asking, what could she be up to?
According to the poster, Sally's birthday party comes off next Friday, September 27, and is expected to feature a number of her BBA housemates, including Chase winner Dilish, South Africa's Angelo, the famous Nando, who allegedly had sex with her in the BBA house, among others. Now, it really sounds like a star-studded birthday bash in the offing, but if the poster is anything to go by, then fans of the former BBA Chase housemate will have to part with some cash at the gate of the Excel Lounge. Now, 50 cedis to be precise if you're entering as a mere fan, but if you want a VIP treat, then you should be ready to pay 100 cedis at the gate. And who knows, that might come with some photo ops. Again, the poster indicates that BBA All-Stars winner Uti Nwachuku will be the MC for the occasion. Maybe the tallest of BBA stars might have prompted the charging of the fee. One can never tell. But Showbiz will get some answers for you in our subsequent bulletins.
We'll get no comment from me. And let's look at our headlines again. An audit team of Premix Committee finds some persons selling commodity at 7 cedis instead of 4 cedis. And in foreign news, at least 87 people killed in an attack by Boko Haram militants in Nigeria's northeastern Borno state. More news on MyJoyOnline.com. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano.